Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are gonna start a new series where I'm gonna draw various cities from different parts of the world. This series is gonna be started with Stockholm, which is the capital of Sweden. Stockholm is the capital city of Sweden, which encompasses over 14 islands and 50 bridges on extensive Baltic Sea. It is ochre-colored buildings of Gamla stan are home to the 13th century Stockholm Cathedral. Okay, so for this drawing I have taken reference photos from Pinterest, and since I'm new to digital art, I'm gonna try and match colors which are gonna be picked from the eyedropper tool, which you can see on the screen. Okay, so my basic approach when doing this types of digital art is that I'll paint using a bigger brush tool the whole area, and then we'll remove the excess with the help of the eraser tool. As you can see that I am using the reference image from the Pinterest to match the colors. So here we can see that we need yellow color and shades of red for the rustic feel that we want. So what we'll do is we'll basically use this color wheel which helps us to get different hues and saturation of the color that we have picked. This will help blend the colors more easily and will give a cohesive look to the final image. So the brushes that I have basically used in this drawing are dip brush hard and watercolor opaque. These I have used in different sizes, and I have also used airbrush tool, which helps us blend colors more evenly. So my basic approach to this drawing was that I would brush this yellow color all over the area. After brushing the yellow color, what I would do is I would use the color wheel, where I would pick a darker shade by moving a diagonal line across the wheel, and I would get a darker color of the same shade, which will have which will make blending more easier. Then I will smudge that whole thing with the help of the smudge tool, and after that I will use an airbrush tool in a bigger size, where I will color everything back in. So here you can see that I was not satisfied with the blue shade and coloration that was shown, so I'm just rubbing it all off, and I will draw it again on a different layer. Okay, so the main advantage of drawing things on different layers is that you can use the eraser tool. So as you can see that my basic approach was to draw with a big brush all over the area and then erase the edges to get a more clean look. So if I had done it on the same layer, then my yellow shade which was in the adjacent shape would also get ruined. So that's basically the main purpose behind drawing it on a different layer. Okay, so here you can see that this is the first building that I ever drew, and therefore you can see me struggle. Later I basically developed a whole approach which made the drawing process much faster. So it took me over 1 hour to draw this one building, because I was figuring out the shades and the brushes to use, and how to use the color wheel, and how to blend the two brushes which were smudge tool and airbrush tool. Okay, so I'll explain to you how I basically did it in short. So I color picked the base shade, and I would draw it all over the shape. Then I would erase it with the help of the eraser tool. Then I'll use the color wheel, and I would take a darker shade and use the same watercolor brush, and would draw it all over the place. Then I would use the smudge tool, which will help me which will help me blend it more easily. Then I will take an airbrush tool, and I will color pick the base color, and then I will brush it all over the area, so which will give me a much cleaner look and a very well blended area. So that's how I have basically colored everything in this building. So that's what I'm gonna do for the rest of the video, and I will explain what I have done when there is a different part. But this is what I have done for the first building, and since it's the first one, it took me a lot of time to figure out the use of brushes and the size of brushes. So now to give a more depth look, we'll draw black lines straight from top to bottom, and this will help us give a more cohesive look, and will give a more rustic feel to the drawing. So that's what I have done basically for all the 3 layers of the roof, which it basically is a roof. So ochre colored buildings are basically very popular and it's a very photogenic location. I have never been to Stockholm or to Sweden. Actually, I have never really left India. I have been in India my whole life. But I have traveled across India and the beauty of the ochre colored buildings all around Sweden does fancy me. So I do plan on visiting Sweden sometimes. But tell me about your travel goals. Tell me what the places that you would like to visit if you had unlimited money. Okay, so now we will move on to the pillars. So we'll brush on a lighter color all over the pillars, and as you can see that I have zoomed in way too much, where it became hard to see the actual image. But I'm trying to work on that. So now we'll take a darker color using the color wheel and we'll blend it in, and then we'll use the even darker color and we'll use it on the pillars. Now we'll use a lighter color. I use more light colors than this, and we'll brush it in the background, which will help us give a more cohesive look and make the drawing look pretty. I have no idea why I did that. Okay, so we'll now use a brown color, and we'll draw it in the building's edges, roof's edges basically. So we'll use a darker color for the bottom line, and we'll use a lighter color for the upper shade. So here we'll draw these and we'll also use it for, I don't know what that's called, but as you can see it in the video already. So again, same logic, lighter color above and darker color below to give a more shadow effect. For the pillars, I don't know what they are. We'll use light color as a background, and then we'll brush in darker colors again all over it. So it will give a more depth look as we see the image from a distance. And again, same as before, we'll brush a lighter color in the middle so that it doesn't look plain and bland. So what do you guys do for drawing? Do you prefer traditional art or digital art? I got this tablet on Diwali as a gift and I have started using it very recently, and I have no idea what I'm doing. But I also like traditional art. I learned traditional art since I was 3 years old, and I have many projects at home which half of are not completed. But yeah, what do you prefer, traditional art or digital art? Okay, finally we move on to the next building, which is not bright yellow as you can see in the image, and it's a much more muted peach beige tone. So you can see that I was trying to match it with the Pinterest reference that I have. But yeah, so here it had many small details, so erasing it with eraser was the only thing that I could do, and it in fact makes the job way easier than it brown should color be. All over the windows. So as you can see that while doing the sketch I had this bold black lines which are on a completely different layer. So what you can do is you can put this layer of lines at the very last. So it will give so what it will do is it will give you very crisp dark lines, and when you color over it, it will not get lighter or blurrier. So it will make the drawing look much more cleaner. It's like childhood equivalent of drawing dark black sketch pen lines over any drawing that you did. I used to do that before coloring and I used watercolor. So it used to be a mess in the end. Tell me your childhood mess ups. How would you mess up when you were a kid? Here you can see that I have totally gotten the grip of how to use the smudge tool and the blend tool, and how to use the eraser tool and the what is that tool, airbrush tool, to help get a more cohesive look. And therefore it took way less time. Like I took 1 hour to complete the first building, and the other buildings were completed in like another hour. It took almost 2.5 hours to 2 hours for me to complete this drawing. So yeah, as I was talking, I'm not someone who believes that art is like black and white, where there is good art and bad art. I believe that art is an expression, and it helps you to express yourselves and your emotions and the things that you go through in a much more free and acceptable manner. So I don't really think that there is anything such as bad art. But yeah, we all mess up at some times, and that's the process of learning, that's the process of growing, that's the process of being better than you are. No one is born superstar. Again, we'll use the same logic as before, and we'll put a much darker layer than the one on the roof, and we'll color it all over the base, and then we'll draw dark black lines all over it. So eraser tool is definitely the most helpful tool when you are drawing digital art. Eraser tool, undo tool, layers tool. I wish we had these tools in traditional art. They are so much more helpful and make the process way easier. Now we'll move on to the next building, and in this building we have already moved on to the next building. I don't know what I'm saying. So yeah, as you can see that I'll draw these water pipes. I guess they're water pipes, and then we'll use the yellow color and we'll brush it all over. Then repeat the same process. Use an eraser tool, use a darker layer, use a color wheel, use an airbrush, blend it in. Yeah, same old, same old. I've done this so many times. I think I've mastered this art by now. Or maybe not. I don't think that there is any such thing as mastering a art. Yes, Taylor Swift cameo. We all love Taylor Swift. So now this is basically the process of blending, and we'll definitely use the color wheel tool and eraser tool a lot because I never learned drawing between lines. Think outside the box and then use an eraser to erase it all. Okay, so now what I've done is I have just color picked using the eyedropper tool. I just used my previous building because they are all the same shade, so I think we can use the same colors. So yeah, here you can see me clearly use the smudge tool, and where it gets all easier because this is the time that I had already picked up the technique and the process become way similar. I would like if you guys would try to recreate this art in your own form, maybe with watercolors or maybe with, I don't know, alcohol markers. I'd like to see your work. If you do something like that, do tag me in your video. I will comment and react to it. So now onto the windows, we'll use the exact same technique as we have done before. We'll brush in a lighter shade and then we'll use a darker shade and then we'll use an even darker shade. So I've basically used three dark shades of the same color, and it helps to get a more perspective of depth. So now I'm just gonna delete this clip and I'm not gonna bore you with the entire process. So this was what I had done so far. And now you will see the building because this is the same procedure that gets repeated and it kind of will get repetitive content. This is the drawing that I have created, and you will see the original photo or the reference photo that I have used in a second. So this was the Pinterest reference that I had used. So tell me your thoughts about it down in the comment sections below. And thanks for watching, and do subscribe to my channel for more such content.